One, bing, bing. We're live. It's the local support meeting. Here we are. We have Brent. We have Nicola. We have Sigu. We have Sam. Yay! Here we are. So yeah, now the new time, the clock changes have changed, and here we are. And let's get busy. So I guess I'll get the pivotal tracker up. I can't.
Okay.
I feel like maybe 2-3 weeks back, Brent, we had a retro. I don't know if we voted on any stories last time. I can't even really remember what we did last week.
No, I think that the last week we just checked what we were doing, and I don't know if we vote on anything.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
that's
quite short last
yeah.
time.
Well, that's fine. I guess. I mean, the key thing to first ask: does anybody have any stories that they want to get voted on in this meeting?
Not me. No.
Not specifically, but I thought if we had time, it would be good to look through some of the bugs and maybe vote on those.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
I think we did vote on a couple of bugs, but yeah, let's keep on doing getting. Yeah, I think you were saying before, Brent, weren't you, that like there seemed to be a lot of bugs, and we should maybe have some bug sprints where we focused on getting rid of the bugs things, which is an excellent idea. There was one request from the client that I just wanted to make sure that I had in the system, which was about tracking. Oh, there we go, tracking for click-throughs on the embedded map. So I'd quite like to get that voted on. And there's a couple of, so we can certainly work on the stuff in the top there. I guess we've also got somebody. Why is that in the? I guess I don't know why that's there. That also looks like that should be voted on. But before we get into voting, is there anything that are blocking people that we need to kind of get addressed at all?
I would like to talk about it. The issue that I'm solving, that is a friendly issue for beginners, but I don't know if we maybe can address that next week. Or
Yes. I think you and I are gonna. I mean, you've got a couple of open pull requests with lots of different questions, Nicola, and I think we need, we need time to sit down and go through those. So,
cool.
Yeah, we'll prepare on those next week. I will put my calendar together for tomorrow. Brent, you have the ongoing failures on your system, don't you?
Yes, I still have them. Yeah. The other thing, we can look at the results of the pair programming survey as well if we've got time.
Yes, we'll put that in there. Pair programming survey. Anything on your mind, Sigu?
Nothing really. I'm just trying to catch up on what I've been losing, what I've lost for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, no worries at all. Okay, so I think in that case, shall we do some votes and then check the pair programming survey? That might be the way to go. I have a meeting with the client tomorrow. I mean, I guess I should also check in on all the elements in the board. But well, let's start with. I'm just a little surprised here to find in the backlog that we've got this ticket here. It's a research ticket. I think that maybe it was. I'm just going to put a 1 on it. It's just research tickets are pretty much always, ones, like when they're not actually involving the fix. But so let's deal with this first bug then. We've got one about there's no mention of application.yaml in the contributing docs, which I think I added this. Yeah, let's go ahead and have a vote on it. It should just be a documentation fix, but it's good to talk about why this is an issue. So there's no mention of application.
I think it mentions in the installation logs, in the installation docs, though.
Yeah, maybe. So this. Well, I mean, we've got various different bits of documentation, and it needs to improve. And this is something I think Sigu was also keen to help sort of look at, was how we can make the flow of the onboarding people easier.
Okay.
So, I mean, the difficulty we have is that people may come in through different ways. We've got a link over to the to something there on Agile Ventures, which actually has got a video embedded in it there. Interesting. And then we've got installation notes, and then we've got contribution guidelines. So
we have a Docker file, right?
We do, but I don't know that it's ever been used significantly. I mean, part of the issue that we have for people getting started is we do have a lot of what I would call craft in the root of the project. Like we have, you know, different, like if we look in here, we've got like these Ubuntu install files. We've got this Ubuntu install. We've got Vagrant Ubuntu install. Like there was like 2 years ago, we were like trying to use Vagrant. More recently, people added a Docker file, and you know, I don't know to what extent any of these are necessarily maintained. I mean, they were all sort of attempts. Oh, sorry, I'll just take a layer off. They were all attempts to try and get a setup so that people could, you know, get a consistent version of the system working for themselves. And I don't know that any of them has ever kind of like really fixed that problem, if you know what I mean. Like it's still, you know, there's some downside to each of them. I mean, there's also C9, but then you have to have a credit card. There's no, we don't yet have any perfect, okay, you can just drop straight in and start coding solution. But I think we're now in a slightly worse situation but because we've got all of these different scripts hanging around, people are confused. Like, you know, they will see them and think, oh, that's the way to do it, but not notice that there's another one. And really we should kind of clear out the ones that are not working and not maintained, and, you know, have coherent documentation saying these are the ways that we recommend getting set up.
Sam, do you know why we added the Vagrant and Docker packages? Is it because of the problem getting Postgres set up? Because I just think that adds complexity.
You think that having Docker or Vagrant adds complexity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I agree entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was specifically Postgre per se. I think it was just, you know, like people on Windows just have all sorts of problems, you know, and they were different attempts. Like, I think the Vagrant thing hasn't been worked on for like 2 or 3 years, and maybe it was a year since the Docker file. As I say, you're absolutely right. You know, we've added a bit of complexity to try and address something else in the hope that it will fix it, and I don't. None of them has kind of delivered. You know, if you know what I mean, in providing a way that allows our new users to come in and hit the ground running and start contributing code. So, yeah, I mean, it's there were some people very excited about adding Docker at one point. I haven't seen any benefit from having added it, other than those people got to practice adding some Docker files. The best suggestion that I've heard was I heard on a podcast, I talked about it with Sigga before, is that ironically, every time the CI runs with Travis, it goes through an install process that is the entire thing. Do you know what I mean? Like this is actually what we would love our users to be able to complete, you know, successfully when they get set up. And it's been suggested that actually what one should do is the install script should be run by Travis. So, you know, if like various of these things were in the install script and then it was being run each time, we'd have effectively CI on the install script. That's the part of the problem with these different Ubuntu install things, is that they only ever get run occasionally by somebody who comes in and tries to use them. They're not part of the continuous integration of making sure that everything's working. So if we could kind of, you know, I don't know, it's a perfect solution, because maybe there are things that are specific to CI. I mean, some, like if we've got, what are we doing here? Actually, I mean, some of these things like involve installing Phantom.js. Some of these things, you know, they already have some things installed. I don't know. Anyway, but to come back to the original ticket, which we were talking about a minute ago, is that there's a particular thing during the install process that you do need to set up application.yaml with various things, and that I think, let's have a look. If we go here, yeah, so we've got instructions for installation on different OSs. To the credit of the Docker folks, they added some things there. I think I just added this. You can see by the fact that I added it quickly and there's spelling mistakes. But yeah, so I guess I've maybe already worked on this independently. I think, do you need that one? I mean, we kind of, and how does Travis even deal with that? So I'm kind of confused, actually, to be honest. Like, can we vote on this ticket of trying to make sure that this makes sense, or does it have to be part of an epic, which is like making our onboarding process clean?
I mean, if the node is related to what is already been done, I think that the issue can be already solved.
Yeah. Right? I guess what I haven't done is I haven't done a fresh install and checked that this is the only thing that you need to do.
Well, I did over the weekend. Over the weekend. We only do need the do it host and the Gmap API key, which it also mentions.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So those two things that they're mentioned there in that installation, and then I guess we've got the issue that it's not. A lot of people, I think, will come here. They will land on that, and they won't see these things necessarily. But that's a separate issue. Yeah. At least in terms of the explicit bug, it is now mentioned in the what's that page? It's on the installation page. So, yes, go on, Sigurd.
Okay, it's highly likely that someone will click on their particular OS if they come to this page. So can we move it to be the last item there so that they have to read through? Then after that, they choose the OS that they need.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that, and we can say so. If I put here, let's put here. We can say please start by creating an application.yaml file, and then I'll put it here, and then I'll put for installation. I could do like platform specific. Okay.
Is a Google Map keys part of the application YAML file?
Yes, it is. And so I think we might just, instead of saying like you may need to create, I think it was before we had this, you could maybe get away with it missing. And I think it can be like you can just enter random stuff in there. But it says in order for you may also need I'm going to put sorry, so I shouldn't really to add the following to application to.
Okay, so where do you create the application YAML? Is it on the project root?
It's here, so it says there. Yeah, it's in the config. I think config is on the root.
You maybe can remove may.
I think that the thing is here is that I think you definitely need this. I think you definitely need the key. I guess you should. That's what it should. I think it's whether you actually need to create a real key or it can just be like a random key. But yeah, we'll leave it like that. There we go. Okay, so that was an excellent suggestion, Sigu. I think, can we agree in retrospect that Sigu has made the solution easy, and we can say that that was a 1, and we've done it, and it's finished, and it goes away. There you go. Yay! Yep. Thanks. All right. That was good. So then let's move on. So this actually is the issue that Brent is having that we are a bit stumped by. Maybe when if we can get an install script card, I feel like we must lock down the versions of Node and npm that we're on. But okay, let's just vote. This was, you know, we don't necessarily get so many requests from the client for things, but this was a request, and so I think it's important that we vote on it. It's about the wonderful embedded map that now is now visible. Voluntary action Hara. I guess the other thing that we have is the CI failure that I'm. Oh, we got that. I think we voted on that already. Let me start here. Voter. This is now. God, what are we doing? Oh, this is tracking click-throughs. Okay. So you can see here how our lovely embeddable map, thanks to Brent, is now embedded into the Hara Community Network site. There. So this story is the client was saying, it would be like when people come in here and they click through on a volunteer opportunity, that would be great to know about. And if we had like a count of how many people have clicked through on what, that would be really handy. And I think useful for their reporting and so on. So that would, presumably involve, rather than having a link be directly out to the third-party Do It site, we'd have an intermediate link, and then we would store that data in the database. Any questions about this feature and about how difficult it might be to do?
I don't have an idea what is involved for tracking the clicks that we are doing there. If we need to integrate another sham or...
Yeah, go on, Brent.
I think we just need to have another action that we pass a URL to. So when somebody clicks on it, it calls that action with the URL parameter, and then we just update a database table with the URL and then redirect them to that URL. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so I'm just saying this is the partial, for example, this is the pop-up, and this is then the link to the volunteer op organization and to the title. Okay. And so we've got this, can we jump to that? We've got this helper where we're sort of constructing the HTML. So I think doing this would just involve, we would actually probably write our own thing here so that the link had appropriate prefix. There'd be like a tracking controller. And so it would, we would need a new table to track. We'd have tracking that would store, the links and the number of times they've been clicked. Or, I mean, there's some design decisions there about whether that tracking table would, you'd have like just each link and how many times it's been clicked, or do you just like store each event as a separate row in the table, and then you kind of like potentially get information about the users who did do the clicking. So there's some design decisions there. It definitely would involve changes to the database, but since we already have a helper that's creating the links, it shouldn't be too much trouble.
And do you need to track the user who's clicked?
I'm sure that the client would love, the more information they can get, the better. The reality is that most people are not logged into our site, and people who are clicking through on it, we would only be having access to, they're almost, I guess we could set it up so that if they were logged in, it would record who they were. But the kind of information would be, whatever comes across in the user agent and so on, which I don't know is very much.
Maybe you can save the link as a key in the table, as the primary key, and you can save another field that it will be like a JSON or JSONB with all the information that you can get from them. So either if they are logged in or not, it doesn't matter because it's going to be there.
Yeah. And I think probably the sensible thing would be to do something simple first, and then we can add more as is requested. I think that my general rule is, get the stupidly simple thing done first, check that it works, and then move on from there. But Brent and Sigu have voted. Nicola, did you want to go ahead and vote in the?
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. I'll go ahead and vote as well. All right, and we'll reveal that one. Yeah. So, yeah, Sigu, Nicola, myself, we're on medium. Brent, you're on your own with a simple. You were thinking it would be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be create a new model and a new action controller and action, and then, like you say, just update the helper to format the URL that takes. Yeah, so I'm happy to go with medium. You guys know better than me, but it sounds fairly simple.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I have this sort of rule of thumb that if there are changes being made to the database, then I tend to go with a medium. Like if it was if we could get away doing it with just only a change to the view, then that usually falls into my simple category. I think you're right that it's a fairly straightforward change to the database, but it does. It means then also, we've got to make sure that migration runs, which we did. By the way, we did have the site was sort of broken for about a day because I had forced to deploy and the migrations hadn't run. It's all fixed now, but that reminds me of we need to fix this. It's the CI issue. But yeah, if you're willing to go with a medium, I
am. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just something to add on that.
Go on, Sigur.
Yeah, the reason I also voted for the medium was I was considering the amount of tests that we'll have to do and possibly do some adjustments somewhere else. Yeah, that's why I went for the medium, but it might be a simple, but the medium was a good fit for this particular story.
Yeah, I think it's good to split the difference there.
So I vote for medium just because of the same reason of Sam. Every time that I have to touch the database, it's like, okay, I will take my time.
Absolutely. These databases, if only we could just exist in memory, and that would be all good. So I'm going to move us on to the next. We want to get some of these bugs. So there's a Google Maps API warning that gets displayed in the console, potentially related to these tickets. It's a funny one because we started this project like before, like 5 years ago, and so this harrowcn.org.uk has kind of been grandfathered in for some not needing an API key, I think, but it still gives us this warning. And you get this locally as well, do you, Brent?
No, so I think that's part of the problem. It only seems to be happening on the live site. I don't even think it was happening on the development. I'm not sure.
Yeah. One of the things that I did do in the last 10 days is I have switched us over so that we now have, the other thing, as well as that, one thing is I shut down the staging and develop sites in order to save us money, or to save the client money. But I also, the main site is now, this is now secured not through Heroku's expedited SSL, which is quite expensive. It's now secured through the Let's Encrypt framework. And in the process of getting that working, I converted all 3 of the apps to the hobby, to the hobby
version.
Yeah, because although Let's Encrypt is free, you have to be on the hobby tier in order to allow you to use that. So, and then since staging don't get used so much, I was just thinking, actually, since I think we're paid, we pay when they're running. So if there's a situation where we don't actually need the them up, then I thought I'd just turn them off to save money. Well, the client had been worrying about our level of spend there. So let's just turn those on so we can investigate the situation. Inspect. Here we go. Console. Yeah. So we do get.
I think this also appears on my development. If I'm not sure,
you get it on your local on your development thing. but you weren't getting it locally, you think?
No, I definitely don't. Sigu, do you have the API key then in your YAML file?
By the way, I don't think I have that. Let me just confirm.
So that might be the solution.
Right. So Sigu, you were saying you don't have the application.yaml file?
Yeah, I do not think I have it. Let me check application. Under config.
I guess I can fire my environment up and remove that temporarily.
Yeah. So interestingly, I'm getting the same API key warning on all 3 sites.
So I have actually submitted a fix for that. I don't know if it's been deployed though.
Yeah, the interesting thing is then there's this other thing for like loaded over HTTPS. I sort of remember you doing that fix.
Yeah. So and looking at that, the fix isn't in because it's calling the Google through HTTP, not HTTPS.
Right, but why then are we not getting the same error on the production environment?
Good question.
I mean, I think it might be what it might be is, I don't know. Let's just check that they're all on the same versions of things. I think it might be that because of the Travis CI fail, it might be that develop and staging are not on the latest version of things. This is another part of the CI being really painful. Is the CI fail was not only preventing the CI from running, it meant that when I was merging things into develop, it wasn't automatically deploying them. And so, oh gosh. So I might just git pull origin develop and git push. So what have I got here? Git remote -v develop. Yeah. Git push -f develop master. Okay. I was also going to like load my thing locally and see if I got the errors. You were just trying there with like adding or removing your application.yaml, Brent. Was that?
Yeah. So I'm definitely not getting it when I've got the application YAML file. So I'm just going to edit that out now and then restart the server. So just bear with me a second.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also trying to start it up. I don't know why my Postgres is not working right now.
So, yeah. So I mean, to come back to the issue that we were voting on.
Yep.
I think it's this thing where we may just want to be living with it, because I have a feeling that we looked at this before, and it's like if we add an API key, it stops working because our system is, as I was saying, it's kind of 5 years ago. It was grandfathered in before they had the API keys or before that they were required. And so we kind of end up breaking our map because of, at least that's my memory of what it was. Sorry, go on, Brent.
That definitely, I now get the error. So if I remove my API key, I get the error.
Right. So I mean, I think probably what it is that we don't set the API key on production. I'm just going to go and look at the production settings and see if that's really the case. Look where the settings gone. Let's see. Yeah. So that there is no Google Map key set on production, and I think that was my memory is that when I set it previously, it broke the map because the harrowcn.org.uk is excluded from the sites that can be used with the API key.
Okay.
Oh, so, okay. Who owns the API key?
Well, there is no API key. As saying, the site's been around for so long that it was kind of like Google rolled out the requirement for API keys, but they whitelisted a set of sites that had been using Google Maps for long enough to say these ones didn't require API keys because they didn't want to like break long-running legacy apps.
Right. Okay.
I seem to remember having a conversation with Google all about this. We can probably find it if I was being due diligence. I will have you know, what's the word, documented that somewhere in the system. 7 done stories, PR displays will not show map unless keeper is set up. Let's have a look at the
Oh, there you go. API key error. Yeah.
there we go.
Oh no, that's mine, I think.
But I don't know. So I think we could certainly explore it again. And that's a different error. It was like we were certainly having issues with the map not working like that. That might be a good. I mean, I'll put that in there. I think this one may be a particularly tricky one to solve, having had a go at it before. Doesn't mean that we might not find a better solution this time around. But we also want to be maybe somewhat careful. Should we vote? I think actually you guys have, 2 of you have voted. Sigurd, did you want to vote on this one?
Let me see.
All right. So we've got, so myself and Brent going for hard, Sigurd for medium, and Nicola for simple. Yeah, it should be a simple fix, I think, Nicola.
Yeah, I vote for simple because I think that we have to make a decision, or we have to take a decision about what do we want to do. If it is only going to be a warning, and we don't need to remove it because Google didn't want it to break backwards another system. So
yeah,
they what you told us. I
think you're right. If we decide to do nothing about it, it's definitely a simple. It's a simple thing.
Yeah, that was what I thought. Yeah.
If we want to actually really remove it, I think it might be quite tricky. Sigu, you went for medium.
Yeah, I went for medium because looking at it, it's like we have a solution, but we're not sure about the solution. So I don't really know what the solution is, but it's not as simple as we might think it is. We might add the API key, but from what you've said, Sam, is that adding that key might bring in some complexities later on.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to risk saying that it's a simple one.
Yeah, and of course, the possibility is that I'm wrong. I'm just sort of speaking from my memory of the issues counted before, and even if I'm right about what happened before, it may have changed. So it may be that there's a better solution now that I wasn't aware of before.
I think is it easy to. So what I can probably do is I can create a temporary API key on my account and give it access to the staging domain. Is it easy to update the API in the key in staging, and we can just test it, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can, for example, I could even do that. I happen to have it open. What have we got? The API key. We had it in that documentation, didn't we?
So it's in the application YAML.
Yeah, and we just did installation here. So
do you want me to? Shall I go and create a quick API key?
You could do. I was even just going to go. Please do that. I'm just sort of like add a random one and see how that affects the develop server.
Okay, just 2 seconds. Somebody's knocking at my door now. Hang on.
Oh no worries. We can also see. I think I did force push to the develop server, and that's sort of thinking about the background. What we'll probably also want to do is run the migrations on the, so I can do Heroku run rake db migrates -r develop. There we go. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so having added an invalid key, we get this error. I've pushed the latest code. It's fixed across this, that, and the other.
Okay. Right. Let me create a.
Yeah, you can create a new key. Yeah. Oops. I was just going to I was just deleting the key and reloading it to see, just check that we've got the back to the ground truth. But so yeah, while that's going on, I mean, I guess we're also pushing on to voting on other things. That was a search there, Google API key. So I mean, in terms of other bugs there, some of these older ones, I don't know if they're, well, the site looks odd on mobile. That's probably true. The next one is like some do it orgs not in Harrow. Could we filter out? That's related to this research ticket. So that kind of needs to be completed before we can vote on that one. This was I think a Windows. There was a Windows bug there from the client. Yeah, no API keys. Is that now? Oh, that's strange. There's mixed content issues. Oh. I thought I just pushed the very latest code there. Why is it now getting the... Oh, I guess I shouldn't try and debug it.
What's the URL that I need to add in?
So the develop server is this one here. It's
okay, let me just type this in.
I'll just put it in the chat there. The interesting thing here is that as I'm mousing over some of these pop-ups, I'm also getting the like when it first loaded, it didn't, but there's maybe somewhere else that we're getting mixed content from when we load these. Interesting. I wonder if we still have any HTTP stuff laying around in the system.
Yeah, I definitely tried to fix that in one of the pull requests a short while ago.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks like, well, we just removed it when I loaded the page. Like before I was getting it when I just went to the site. And now it's not there. But when I start mousing over the map, so there's maybe like another place where it can happen, but that's, I don't know where that would be. Anyway,
I just sent you a key in Slack, Sam.
Right. So I'll just put that back into the system. Here we go. So this is, you've made a new key specifically for that domain.
For the development domain, yes.
Yeah. And so we can reload that and see what happens. Of course, we can do all of, you know, we may get it working perfectly on development and staging, and then still not be the case that it works well on production. But yeah, certainly it's the right, yeah. So that's yeah. Well, I think we've removed the warning there.
Yeah, it's just the mixed content again, isn't it?
Well, interesting. See, when it's finished loading, we don't get the mixed content, but as soon as I mouse over and it rearranges the map, you see that's when it comes in. There's another, that's perhaps another bug. So I don't know about anybody else. I think we've got room for one more vote on bugs. We've got this one that the client reported a few months back, like where it was a little bit challenging, and it was specifically on Windows. Oh, it looks like. Oh, go on.
Before I move on to that, have we just solved the bug that we had before?
We have on the develop server. So we could now follow that through with doing the same thing on staging and then even on production. And then that might be the solution. I'm slightly trepidatious that doing it on production will lead to some sort of other painful thing. But actually, that's just, I'm increasingly sounding like a paranoid old man. So, you know, we can certainly, if Brent, if you want to make keys for the other, the staging and the production, I'm happy to.
You can actually use that one because I've actually done it as star.harrowcn.org, so you could use the same one.
Okay. Well, in that case, I guess we might as well try it. It's great to have clean, you know, the fewer errors that we have knocking about, the better. So I'm going to put that in the staging. And I'm also going to push the, so let's go git checkouts, staging, do git rebase develop. We can do git push origin. I mean, in principle, the I think that the CI might be working now, but I'm not gonna. Did I also run the? Yeah, it did do the migrations there. But that was for. Oh, that was running with the import. Okay. Well, while that's running in the background, we should perhaps move. I noticed actually here that I've got. We did vote on this previously in February, and we've got like 3322. I guess it's one of those that maybe wasn't worked on for a long time when we threw back into the thing, because yeah, some of those people are no longer involved in the project and so on. How are you feeling, Brent, about voting on more bug tickets?
Yeah, I'm happy if we've got the time.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to cut the difference with this and well, there's that one. Some of these are very. I mean, I would say actually, let's vote on this one for site looks odd on mobile, because I think that's a more like that one that's there that's higher up. It's just slightly more recent, and it's what's the word? I think it's a very, you know, it's a very specific kind of particular thing, and I think changing it and fixing it is not going to have that much impact. But if we could get the site to look good on mobile, that would probably be quite a step forward, if you know what I mean.
Are you talking about the whole website, or there are particular pages that needs to look?
I think probably the site. Well, I think what we need to do here is we need to look at the site on mobile and see if it's still the case that it looks kind of odd. Let's have a look. So, well, I guess we could argue, what's this? Three. Let's find. Let's look at it on iPhone 5.
I think.
It doesn't look too insanely bad, does it?
Not really.
It's not being proper responsive, though, is it?
No. Oh, no. It's yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's just showing, you know, a minimized version of the site. I mean, it's responding in terms of its rather, you know,
the floats, but yeah.
But yeah, you see the basic issue.
I think I understand what it is. I'm looking at it through my phone,
and
it's kind of zoomed in with a lot of padding.
Mm.
Yeah, I can take a screenshot and share it with you.
Can we? Yeah. I think I think we just need to get it. We just need to add the value that forces the browser to show it without zoom, and then we can see what it looks like, because it might actually look okay then.
Yeah, touch these.
But I think there's things for like the font sizes should probably all increase if it detects that it's on mobile. And I mean, I guess the ideally this would, like, these kind of things, the navigation would turn into the hamburger and stuff. But the Agile Venture site does adjust itself in that. I mean, then it becomes sort of an epic if it's going to be that much changes.
I think that maybe we could use the Google site for measure how responsive our site is
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
right? Just,
Yeah, that would be a good thing. All right. Yeah. So I'm seeing Sigurd just shared this image. But
that's how it looks like on my phone.
Yeah.
I think some elements are responsive and some aren't. I think that's the problem, isn't it?
I mean, I think the basic layout of the map and the thing are, they're like rows and they're responding, but like the rest of the other stuff is not changing. So yeah, I mean, should we? I guess, shall we vote on this one? That this is I'm going to say it's making it look good on mobile as best we can. All right, so we've got our votes. We're going to reveal the votes, and yeah, we've gone for 3 medium, and then Sigurd's gone for hard. You want to talk us through that, Sigurd?
More of a personal experience with CSS.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to go with hard on that basis.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think I think that's a good point, because we're not building this from scratch, are we? Either we're sort of picking at existing. So yes.
Yeah, we've got to adapt the existing one. Yeah.
So for example, here chat, you have the test of mobile friendliness.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I get that when we do searches for it, it comes up with not mobile. Yeah, the text too small to read, viewport not set. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing though, because Google will rank it higher as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally. Yeah. So let's pop that activity in there, and then we'll put that in as hard. Go on.
And I give you a lot of hint that you can take for.
Yeah. No, that's very helpful site there, Nicola, and I've added a link to that into the ticket so whoever works on that can reference that.
Cool.
All right, good stuff. So I think that's, if we want to talk about the pairing time.
Oh, cracky! Yeah. Oh, did you check if the staging site was okay?
I will do momentarily. Let's.
In the meantime, I will share my screen.
So we've got, what did I just do? We're checking the staging site now, where I've pushed up the latest stuff. There you go. So that's all clean. We can see the map. What was I going to do? I was just going to make sure that that we had done Heroku run rake db migrate minus r staging. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, it certainly seems that has fixed the superficial bug on there. I guess we could maybe open a new bug ticket to say that somehow the HTTPS thing comes back when we mouse over, not on the original page load. I don't know what is there something in there must be somewhere else in the system. There's like an HTTP.
Can you just look at the view source for me, please?
Yeah. Where should we?
I just want to look at the header of the page where all the scripts are.
Yeah. I mean, the main maps is being loaded over.
Yeah, I don't understand, because that's the only place where it loads that.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
But we get, each time we mouse over.
There's a is there a function that's being called with the mouse over?
Yeah, there's a mouse over function that's doing something, and for some reason I don't know if that's related to my is it maybe that it's cached in my browser? Maybe I wouldn't get that if I did it in the. I'm just going to go into a different browser that might not have that cached.
Yeah, I'm also opening it.
See what it says. In the background, what I'll do is I'll try pushing that same thing out on production.
It happens on my browser too.
Oh, okay. So you don't get it on the initial page load, but once you start doing mouse over, they appear. Is that right?
Yeah, they appear. Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, because the page load stuff for that is where is that? We've got our JavaScripts.
It's on the Google. There's a Maps.js.
Yeah, custom marker. I wonder if it's like in some of the Google code. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like, are there possibly references to it in some
in the library? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just check the maps.js as well, just
because this is the one that's doing open, and then this is the one that's doing center map, right?
Yeah.
So we've got organization map. We init the map. The center map should. Wait, where's the mouse over? We've got on mouse enter organization map update info box.
And then there's a partial as well that puts some scripts on. I can't remember what that was called.
Is that?
There you go, map scripts and map. It might be in the map legend or the map do it actually. Sorry, can you just go back to the map scripts one? I don't think this has been updated. Oh yes, it has. Sorry, I missed. Yeah.
That one has.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have. Anyway, we should probably. Can you create a bug ticket for that, Brent? And we'll maybe vote on that next week.
Yep, I'll just make a note.
I was just going to reload the production site where the map is working and the. So we've managed to get rid of. So we've actually done it in the session. So we can go back and say, where's it gone? I lost the thing now. Is it still up? Here it is. There, this one, we've actually fixed it in the session. There we go. So that was pretty good. We've completed 2 tickets just in the meeting.
Cool.
Which is quite good. So let's just go back over here. And on production, yeah, so this is that. Well, I can just, rather than you making it, I can just grab a screen share of that and say, we can add a bug there and say, so this is HTTPS, HTTP mixed fail when mousing over list items. Okay, and well, Brent, do you want to share the results of the survey that you had about creating sort of a dedicated pairing time?
Yep, so I'm sharing my screen. So we had 6 responses. They were these people here. That was, yeah, that's just telling us the different time zones where each people were. So there's a couple in GMT, and then, yeah. So here we go. So days of the week, Wednesday looks to be the most popular when people are available. Times. So the most popular is 12 till 2 p.m. UTC, followed by evenings 5 till 10 p.m. and 8 till 10 p.m. So yeah, everybody who said that they'd like them weekly. And yeah, so please shed some more light on what pair programming is about. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So maybe people with more context on the tickets can try to list steps to finish the task so it is easier to newcomers to understand what needs to be done. So I guess we can reply to those in Slack. It's looking here that it might be better if we have maybe 2 times looking at the split, but it looks like either afternoon or evenings are the best slots. And Wednesday is the... So I think what I'll do is, unless there's any comments, I will look through this and make some suggestions in Slack based on this. I will also make it so everybody can see the responses and have a look themselves.
Great stuff.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying great.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing that, Brent. And yeah, just let us know if you need any help sort of sorting the things or creating events, markers, reminders in Slack or what have you to kind of get these sort of shared sessions happening.
Yeah, well, I'll get that set up so that we can start doing them next week then, based on that, and we can. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Cool.
All right, good show. So I'm going to see the client tomorrow. I guess the last thing we should do is, does anybody want to assign themselves to any tickets in particular and work on it in the next sprint?
Okay. Yeah, I already have one, but.
Well, I think if you have one, don't take on any more. You and I, Nicola, will pair on the.
Perfect.
Yeah, the new thing. I think that's and people, but there's this idea that with the sprints and the numbering them and like people committing to them. But I think Sigu, you're just getting yourself back sorted. Brent, you've got more than enough to do. So let's maybe leave it there, and we'll try. Nicola, you and I can try and pair early next week and help you get all of your bits and pieces.
Cool. Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Anybody blocked on anything?
I have a question about we are using New Relic on production, right?
Yes, very possibly. We're certainly using Agile Ventures. I will have to go. Didn't want to show all those things. Oh well.
I just wanted to ask if we have access to see how things are running and because I'm the thing is I'm reading a book about profiling memory with Ruby, and I wanted to apply some things just for measurement.
Yes, so we can see here, this is the New Relic running on production there, and we can see this. And yeah, potentially if you send me your Heroku email, I can potentially get you set up with access to see this.
Okay, nice. Yep. I think that is the same email that I will give to you.
I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Okay. Great to see everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and it seems like this time for the meeting is working. So same time next week, and look forward to catching up with everybody more very soon.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
See you next week.
Yep.
All right. Bye for now.
Speak to you all soon. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.